mind was I had a tenant come to me and say, I can't pay this month because aliens needed gas money to get home. That was his excuse.
Seriously?
That was dead serious. And he straight face.
Okay, if someone told me that, I'd be like, okay, where'd you meet these aliens? You know?
Where's your shirt jacket?
Yeah.
Yes, I've.
Where were you?
Yeah, I mean, you hear some of the most ridiculous things, and you kind of have to wade through a lot of it to get to the truth. But yes, so property management, it's interesting. Yeah.
All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Scale Nation podcast. I'm here with my host, Zach, but Carl could not make it today. He's feeling unwell. It's a shame because it's our first, as you can see, live podcast. Yeah, we have our guest here, Jeff, correct?
Yep. You got it.
Jeff, can you introduce yourself to the team here?
Yeah, sure. I'm Jeff Bell. Born and raised here in Pittsburgh. Been an investor since about 2001. So that takes me, 25 years almost. Fix and flips. I've done some hard money lending, buy and holds. We're starting to get into some bigger projects. But yeah, it's great to be here with you guys.
No, thank you for coming. Really.
Yeah, really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. You're also a real estate agent and broker, right?
So we, my partner Lydia and I started the brokerage early 2024. And then we ended up saying, hey, you know what? Why not? Since we have the brokerage, why don't we start putting let's get another revenue channel going. So let's start getting into property management. So we started up Genlux Management Services on top of our Lux Haven. Let's see.
Oh, I have a question for you. All right. Would you recommend
Yes.
that someone who's trying to buy like a duplex or small multifamily learn how to do property management themselves?
I say that all the time to people.
Really? See,
Yes.
I was talking to a friend of mine who's an operator in syndication. He was telling me, I was like, I want to do some property management myself. I got some guys in Pittsburgh because I'm not local, but I want to buy in Pittsburgh. And I got some guys here, and I was like, I want to learn property management. I got Zach as I can bench press. He's my spotter. If I'm messing up, like, yo, Zach, help me, you know?
Right.
So
absolutely.
I'm thinking like, let me just try to learn property management because I'm getting in a deal with Zach now and Carl and our other teammate Sal, and I know nothing about real estate. I'm the new guy. I'm the newbie.
Sure.
I started at 33, but I'm the newbie. And I'm buying, and I was like, I want to manage something by myself so I can learn how this property management thing works.
I think folks, especially starting out, if they buy, their first single family, their first duplex, whatever the case may be, self-manage. Learn.
Yeah.
Learn it.
And then I want to learn.
You get a lot of it under your belt while doing it. You know what you can do, can't do. You do your own research as far as the laws in the area in order to stay compliant. And you really only know that and can learn that by doing it.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to do, and especially for small ones.
A lot of friends of mine that are investors have always asked me, like, so how many units before I should get property management? It depends.
No, I do it at one because if you don't, you gotta know what you're. So it's like, for example, I want to get into real estate. I know like how to underwrite. I know how to scout a unit. I know how to do, even like submit offers. But when it comes to property management, which is like make or break your business, you need to trust it to someone else without knowing anything. You gotta at least put it, get in the game. Asset management is important. I get that. And if it gets too big, I understand getting another unit, a property management company to manage it for you. But you need to know what they're doing and how they manage them.
Absolutely. The interesting thing is, my dad was a contractor, and when I was this high, I was out on job sites with him. Was I doing stuff? No. A lot of the time I was just sitting there and just watching. And then as I got older, he started giving me tasks to do and things to do. But that honestly has helped me so much, being able to know how to go into a property, know what the cost is, know what's going on with the property, and if I end up bringing in a contractor that I'm not familiar with, knowing if they're trying to pull the wool over my eyes with things. So going along those same lines, I think by doing property management with your first one, you should always do that. again, like you said, there's the flip side of that where you can sit there and say, well, hey, I now have this asset. I don't know what the heck I'm doing.
Right.
I need to give it to the professionals.
Exactly.
And let them do it.
Right.
There's different trains of thoughts on that.
Yeah. If I'm managing something and I have like a vacancy for over 6 months, this is how to bring in a professional.
For me, when I started out, the partner that I had when I first started out, I let them handle all the management.
Really?
I kind of was the one that went in. I found the properties. I went in, made sure that whatever we needed to do to get them to get them rentable. Once we got a tenant, you handle it.
Oh,
I
cool.
don't want to deal with it.
Tenants. Is it really bad like in the Pittsburgh area?
No, I mean it depends. It depends on the property. It depends on the area. And especially if you're coming into or you just are purchasing a new property. As we kind of had talked, offline here, it's a new regime, and if you're coming in and you want to be a good operator, you're going to set ground rules, and you need to stick to those. The way that I see it, I have a couple trains of thought with that. My two rules are: you don't mess with my business,
okay,
my money, or my family. And if I have a bad tenant that is treating my property not the way it should, or they're not paying or not doing the things that they're supposed to be doing as per their lease, you're messing with all three of those.
Oof.
That's money off my table, taking food off my table for my family because you decide you don't want to pay your rent. Or you're going to trash my unit. So that's why, especially these days, tenant screening is so vital. So even if you do want to self-manage, if you don't know how to screen tenants correctly and efficiently, find someone that does. And property management companies such as ours will do that for individual investors.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So you manage all of the PA, Western PA area, or just
so
Pittsburgh?
Our basic rule of thumb is anything out of from downtown Pittsburgh, 30-mile radius.
30-mile radius.
That's the general rule of thumb, but we do have some that fit outside of that, just because they have other units that are within the city limits, and they have a few outliers. So we'll do those for them.
Oh,
but yeah,
really cool. And Zach, you own a property management business too, right?
Yeah. We decided to start our own property management business when we started scaling up. I was self-managing myself from 1 to 17 units. I was lucky though too, because when we bought our first properties, my wife Nikki had been working for a property manager in town for 5 years prior.
Whoa!
So we had that experience under our belts. So I could ask her, what about this? How about this? How do I do this? How do I deal with this? So when we transitioned to buying full time, scaling up our units to, we're at 78 now. When we close on the 28 units with you, it will be at 106. So she's doing property management full time.
That's going to be really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what my wife is trying to do too. She wants to build our business and focus on our business. Right now, I work at W2. I'm a software engineer, and she's also working as a website coordinator. And she doesn't want to work as a website coordinator. She wants to build her own business because she actually has that in her background, right? Her mom started her own business back in China because she's Chinese.
Okay.
And then they built that business in her small town, and then she's like, this is what I want to do and have build my own business. So when I started getting to real estate, and I was like, okay, if you want to build our business, it's best if you start managing it, right? You can become a full-time real estate, full-time real estate professional. And then I was like, you can do that. And then I still keep my W-2 so we can get the benefits.
Yep.
And then you do that. And then we can you can build it together.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So that's our plan right now. We'll see how it goes. I have a guy that says, just go part-time. You can still get the benefits of part-time. I was like, really?
So Jeff, you've been investing for 25 years.
Yes.
So at what point, how many years in or so did you really start to see that scale up?
So I don't want to say I fell into it. Like as I mentioned, I had done some stuff with my dad and, kind of worked in the construction stuff in the summers and evenings or whatever. But, I had gone to school. I originally wanted to go to be an architect, and eventually switched over to computer science and information science, and got a job and stared doing that. And
the traditional path is what they usually say.
What you're quote unquote supposed to do. And I found a property. I kind of fell into it, and this was kind of right when the internet was just taking off, 01-ish.
Nice.
But still, had to go to the courthouse, boots on the ground, kind of do some digging rather than do it online. found this amazing deal. I thought at first it was a scam. But I'm like, who's going to sell me a house for this price?
You'd be surprised.
Right. And, kind of did my due diligence, talked to some people at the courthouse. They're like, yeah, it's legit. So bought it, ended up making $180,000 on that very first one.
Wow.
I'll asterisk that. Results not typical, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
You can easily lose as much money with the wrong deal.
Oh man.
But the way that I had put myself through school. I paid for school myself. And I said, I'm going to work my way up the corporate ladder. I'm like, that was nice. If I find another one along the way, cool. I know what I did. It was probably about 3 or 4 years into working that I said, why am I doing this?
Oh my god, dude. Same.
Why am I doing this? Why am I busting my butt? And not only that, but just, how corporate is. They dangle carrots in front of you. They promise you things, and then it doesn't pan out. And I'm like, why am I trying to bust my butt to put my name on someone else's door? Why don't I just build my own door? Right?
Right.
So I kind of put together a game plan. I said, okay, I'm going to start putting money away. I'm going to start doing things. And here and there, I would buy a rental property. And then finally in 2013, I decided to take it serious.
What was the switch that made you take it serious? Your
It
boss
was-
was like, I need you to work a 24.
So I was in consulting, and so I traveled a lot at that point. And I said, I want to plant some roots. I want to start a family. I want to do these things.
Okay.
And that wasn't possible, being on the road like that. So I said, I'm going to find a job here in Pittsburgh. So I took a job in late 2012, and I actually was working more hours than I was on the road.
Jeez.
I said, okay, this really isn't it. Like, I need to put a game plan, put a time frame on things, and get the heck out. So we started. It was, I was making very good money, and just started socking money away and buying properties. And eventually, by the grace of God, 2018 came. I finished up a project that we were working on, and that was it. I got a call, Jeff, you're laid off. And I said, God, there's my sign.
That would change everything.
All right,
wouldn't it?
bye.
I said, and you know what? I had told the person I was dating at the time, I had told her, I said, I think at the end of the year, I'm giving my 2 weeks.
Oh.
And it was the day after Thanksgiving. I got the call, and this was before Zoom, so it was all conference call. And I heard that third beep, which was HR.
Oh no.
And I said, and I had this huge grin on my face. Like, I was so at peace. I was so at peace getting laid off because that was my push and my final, let's do this thing. So by 2000, at the end of 18, I was full 100% sink or swim real estate
That's awesome.
and just went nuts. Started buying up flips. We were doing probably 2 to 3 a month at that point. And then just started, being able to, we kept some of them, and we sold stuff off for capital and just kept building from there.
What's your opinion on flips?
Sorry?
What's your opinion on flips? I have a friend who hates flips. He says every third flip you do is for free. So what's your opinion on that?
Meaning what, for taxes?
Yeah,
Or
because you
yeah,
pay
you
you
taxes.
pay taxes.
Yeah.
I just had a conversation with that about W-2 people. I said, your first 3 months that you work,
It's for the government.
January through March, maybe April, goes to the government.
Yep.
Same thing.
Yeah, same thing. You have to be savvy with how you're doing that. If it's just straight, you're getting in, you're getting out, you're getting in, getting out. Yeah, you're gonna pay. But if there's other things that you can do. I'm not a big fan of 1031 exchanges.
Really? Why is that?
I just the
Yeah.
time frames with things and trust me, I'm a chess player. I don't play checkers, especially with this kind of stuff. But just having that extra burden,
Of holding it for 2 years, you mean?
what's
Well,
that?
no, once you look at selling a property, once you sell that, you have 45 days to identify, and you have like 6 months to close.
Really?
Right.
So it's very
have to do
fast
it real
paced,
fast.
fast moving.
So it's for all of the money, not just a portion of it.
yeah.
Yes.
So you have to also hire an intermediary too. So once you close, that money that goes to the intermediary, they hold it for you in trust. And then once you have a property identified, they between the settlement agency and them, they close, the money's funded and sent out.
Wow.
So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I did that 1031 exchange on my Myrtle Beach condo.
I mean, there are tax saving options that you can do, and you just keep rolling. With the 1031, you keep rolling them over. But if that's like your job essentially, and you continue to need capital, or you need that for living expenses, that gets a little pricey. But that's where holding assets. Like you've made a job at that point, unless you have teams and you have systems in place, and you basically are pulling yourself out of it and essentially managing it or project managing those.
Right.
But if you're in there swinging the hammer too, because you're trying to save money, quote unquote, that's a job. That's a job.
Yep. I've done 2 flips. I'm actually in the middle of doing one right now, but my plan is always I hold for 2 years before I even look at selling. One, even if I have to pay in taxes, it's not going to be anywhere near capital gains taxes. Oh. So what I do is I put the money in the flip, I refinance the property out after I put a tenant in it, I hold it for 2 years at least.
But the thing with and that's exactly it. But the thing with that, again, that's where you need to start playing chess instead of checkers, because the first thing you need to do when you identify a property is what's your exit strategy.
For sure.
Right?
For sure.
Because then if you know you're going to do that, there's certain things you have to do. If you're doing flips and you're trying to hold properties in the same LLC, you become a broker, what they call a broker dealer. And there's a whole bunch of additional taxes, and there's no tax savings there. There's actually additional taxes that you're going to be paying on those types of properties. So that's why you typically, like for me, I have my essentially a flip entity, and then I have my other LLCs that I use as holds.
Okay.
Yep.
So if you know that you're going to be holding this or doing something long term, as Zach mentioned, then I'll put it in one of those hold LLCs. And then not only on top of that, then there's other things that you can do, especially depending on the size of the property or the worth of those properties. The 4 things that everyone always looks at, right, is what am I making on it when I buy it? What am I going to sell it for? So on the back end, if I'm going to rent it out, what's going to be the cash flow on that? Then the 4th thing that a lot of people, and I think is now starting to get some traction from a lot of the gurus and different things, is depreciation. Depreciation is probably the strongest piece out of the 4 of those.
Really?
Yes. Especially if you're making money, you're able to offset a lot of that through depreciation. And the things that's going around now is doing a cost segregation on those properties.
Yes, I know about that one.
Right. Where basically you're accelerating that depreciation.
And
getting potential bonus depreciation on it as well. So you can make a boatload of money and have that depreciation offset that, which honestly is how a lot of these wealthier, affluent people aren't paying taxes. It's using the tax code to your advantage, and it's there.
Because I remember watching a video, Trump was talking about how people, only like the real estate professionals are using depreciation, and the homeowners, like regular people, don't have access to that tax bracket. Is that actually true?
I think that's a different conversation.
Yeah.
I think it's
So we both pause. Like,
you know what? It's there for people. It's education.
Really?
Yeah. It comes down to financial education. I hear about it all the time. I don't have kids, but I hear about it all the time that, they don't teach this, they don't teach that. All these different things in school that actually are things that folks or kids should start learning.
They don't teach it, but it's there. It's in the library.
But it's there. It is there. And essentially, you are paying for it.
You are paying for it. The library is there.
But yeah, that's a whole nother topic. But yes, it comes down to being educated on this stuff.
I 100% agree on that. There's so many books that I've read in the past 3 years. I didn't like reading books. I didn't grow up reading books. I didn't, the library in my school, I didn't even know where it was. So then when I started getting into this real estate thing, I was like, where am I going to learn how to do this? And everyone told me it's in the books.
Read the books.
It's in the books.
I was the same way.
Yeah. Like I hate to say it, but I'll on a Saturday night, probably tonight, I will sit on the internet. I will start reading and educating myself. It's our own responsibility to learn this stuff. It's not on other people to come to us and say, you need to know this. And I will say the other thing that folks can do, especially those that are starting out in real estate, or even those that have been in real estate, get mentors. I have a mentor.
Oh,
I have multiple mentors, and in various masterminds.
Oh yeah, I'm
masterminds.
Masterminds too.
There's quite a few very good ones. Are they cheap? No.
No.
But they will accelerate your learning and your progress.
No, for sure.
And that's I think one of the other things that people need to learn when they're getting into real estate is realizing, and it doesn't even have to be real estate, but just in general in life, another educational piece. Money is not the end goal. Money is a tool.
Yeah.
The end goal is time and freedom.
I agree.
Always.
I agree.
Absolutely.
And you can only get that with who you know and the relationships you build. I've learned that a lot because my wife is like, Manny, why are you such a people person? You always like hanging out with people. It's like, because they have the money. I don't have the money. They do.
Right.
So let me go hang out with them.
Yeah. What are we like? We're some of the 5 people that we hang out with the most.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
be around the people that you want to emulate and live the kind of a life that they kind of live, and you'll soak that all up and learn from them.
But I think the biggest mistake, especially with social media being a big part of today's society, is people follow or try to take information from the wrong people.
Yeah.
That's bad. Yeah.
Rather than just because somebody's putting a video out on the internet and they're standing in front of a Lamborghini and what doesn't mean they've actually done it.
That's true.
That's the
They're
issue.
rented. I can guarantee you.
Dude, I met a guy. We were in a meetup, and he met a guy. He's like, yeah, so I do this thing for influencers. I like I'm an influencer agent. And because I'm an influencer agent, people come to me and they're like, hey, I need a Lambo. So I'll get you a Lambo and I'll put you in the house and make you look really successful and all that. And then I own that house. You just live in that house. It's another real estate strategy. Apparently, the influencers live there, so they make it look like they're successful and they have like the cars out there. That he owns the properties and he has people come in and they cycle them out, and maybe they stay for like 6 months to a year. And once the lease is done, they have to either renew or he gets part of their contract that they like the money they make from sponsors and stuff like that.
That's
it's
interesting.
Insane.
Yeah.
And I was like, but he really opened my eyes. It's like it's all fake. And I told Lynn because she was really following something. It's all fake, Lynn. It's not true.
Everything is a facade.
It's a facade. Yes, they're struggling just like the rest of us.
Right.
Everybody has problems. Everybody has issues. It's just who is going to regurgitate it and have diarrhea of the mouth and actually be vulnerable and put it out there.
Yes. Yeah.
Who's going to put the work in? Not just pretend.
Right.
That's something that I had to tell. Like, so when I was doing this real estate journey, and I at first I was spending like the masterminds and like mentorship, meeting people. Well, I was like spending $30,000, $50,000 just to get into these groups, and they're like, Lynn's like, I don't see why you're doing this because it's a lot of money. You're not going to get anything from it. And so for such a long time, she didn't see the results because she's a result-oriented person. She wants to see that the money's going towards something. And it wasn't until last October where I went to another meetup and I'm meeting more people, and I met Zach and I met a bunch of other people. I was like, yeah, I'm trying to get in Pittsburgh. He's like, oh, Zach's in Pittsburgh. And I have other friends like, yeah, I'm buying with Zach right now. And I was like, so what you doing, Zach? He's like, you want to do a podcast? I was like, I could do a podcast. Let's set it up. Then we're here now. So now we're here now. We're doing this podcast live. And then Zach and I are partnering a deal in Pittsburgh and in the Western PA. And it's just like all that came in the last 3 months. And then Lynn was like, I am so sorry I doubted you.
and not to fault her, but a lot of, it's not just and again, a lot of the time with people today, it's a lot of they want instant gratification.
Yeah.
You have to nurture relationships, build the trust, the rapport.
And that's what I told her. If it wasn't for me doing the reps, showing up. So we live in Homestead, and it's Homestead, Florida. It's super far. We drove Delray Beach. It's like an hour and 30-minute drive every single second Saturday of the month to go to a meetup because that's where I met one of my friends, good friends. I went there for 3 years before he invited me to the other meetup where I met Zach. Yeah. And Lynn is like, I don't know why he did that. I said, Lynn, because I was there putting the reps. Every single month I showed up. And I told him, man, I'm trying to do this real estate thing, but it's not working out. Yeah, I'm trying this. I'm trying Miami. He was like, just get out of Miami. He's like, I'm trying to, but it's my background. I want to buy in Miami. I've lived in here my whole life. I want to see. He's like, yeah, but you don't have enough money, so you need to go elsewhere. And at first, it's like, maybe I can make it work if I keep trying. And I tried for 2 years, nothing worked. He's like, all right, I'm forcing you to leave Miami. You're gonna die here. If I keep seeing you come here, you're still in Miami. I'm not gonna be your friend anymore, right? So then he's like, where else do you know? It's like, oh, I don't know. He's like, all right, let me introduce you to my friend. He has a couple markets, right? Good markets. He's like, all right, so there's Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Columbus, Ohio, all these other locations. Like, I know I have some friends in Pittsburgh. Let me do Pittsburgh because if anything, I can just go, talk to them.
Sure.
And then I went to Pittsburgh. I said, I'm doing Pittsburgh. I focused on a little bit, met Zach, met thing, and then now everything's just moving. And it's the reps. You got to put in the reps. If you're not doing the work, people don't even care.
I've been investing for 5 years, going on 6 years now. So I started about my first property at 2020, and it was just. I have to keep going. Like, I would still be at 17 units if I hadn't joined the mastermind, if I hadn't joined the group, I haven't done. And then that's where I met Jeff. Yeah. I did my own meetup.
No way.
Where I was here in Pittsburgh every Thursday morning.
Nice.
Yep.
Yeah. How is it? Setting up a meetup is so super scary. Some people don't have the confidence to do that. Just like, hey, I want to set up a meetup. And I was like, yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know if I can do it. And then you're like, let's do a podcast. And I was like, can I do a podcast? It's like, don't worry, I'll just do it. I don't care.
Tell you what, it didn't get big, but I would get 2, 3, 1 person about every week, and we would just chat. We would just chat real estate.
Yep.
That's awesome.
You have to be comfortable at being uncomfortable.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it comes to the point, like, you're saying, yeah, I don't know if I have the confidence. Well, then you don't want it bad enough.
No,
that's my opinion.
That's true.
That's my opinion.
That's true. Yes.
If you don't have that mindset, like, I'm going to do whatever it takes to get to where I want to be, you're not there yet.
Yeah. And then I read it in books. Like, some people fail 100 times before they get that one time. And that's you keep failing. It's not really failure. It's the reps. It's the work
and learning.
And then you learn from what you. If you don't learn from your mistakes, and you just keep making the same mistakes.
Well, just talk to any entrepreneur. I used to see the meme all the time. I quit my 40-hour-a-week job so I could work 80 hours. And then it was, while you're home, getting a good night's sleep, I'm up because I'm worried about payroll. I'm worried about this. I'm worried about that. I'm making sure that your family's fed.
Right.
Being an entrepreneur is not easy. So if you don't have that mindset that you want to succeed and you are passionate about a particular whatever your business is, yeah, you're gonna fail.
Yeah.
At some point, you're gonna just crack and fail.
Not even that too. It's that statistically, on average, every entrepreneur goes bankrupt 3.5 times in their life.
Are you serious? 3.5 times?
Yeah. Luckily, knock on wood, I'm good. But I couldn't tell you how many times a week I sit there and I'm like, am I doing the right thing? Am I where I'm supposed to be?
Mm-hmm.
Because there's days that there's days that you have those lows, and sometimes they're really big lows. But then when you have a win, you're on top of the world. It's like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. This is where I'm meant to be.
That's awesome.
Because I'll be honest, I'll sit there because faith is a big thing for me. But I'll talk to God and I'll be like, hey, give me a sign that this is where I'm supposed to be. And it might be a few days, it might be a week, it might be 10 minutes later, but it's there.
That's awesome.
And this is being an entrepreneur. I think I've known, and if you would talk to my folks, they'd probably say when he was 3 years old.
Really?
Oh, absolutely. I've always had that drive. Even as a little kid, I would go to the library at school, and I remember there were a couple different books on businesses for kids, lemonade stands, cutting grass, car washes, and I'm like, this is what I'm doing this summer. And I just wanted to be on my own. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But the thing is, it's not necessarily about being on your own, because everyone can go on their own. Doing it with other people and winning together.
That's
where
that's also where you really take off too.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Once you understand that you can't do it all yourself, and once I understood that, that's when things took off.
Oh yeah, 100% understood.
I worked from May to September to close my 48 units. And once I realized in that process, like I had it under contract in May, in that process, once I realized I can't do it myself and added Mitch and Mike to that, we closed. I had to realize it's not going to be just me.
Yeah, and I realized that really early, right? Coming from nothing, right? And then you have to realize if I need to get this done, especially like the property management business here in Pittsburgh that I'm trying to start, I'm gonna need other people in Pittsburgh that I know. So I talk to my friends like, hey, I'm trying to start a business here. You want to join? And like, all right, let's see what it is. Like, if we fail, we fail. But if we don't, we'll see what we get. It's extra income, You build those income streams.
Yeah. The only thing with Pennsylvania is you have to be a real estate broker.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Even if I own it?
No, not if you own it.
Okay.
Yep.
That's just scary. I want to do for my own business and for my duplex and learn and build up from there. Yeah. Because I'm trying to do 6 transactions this year of buying duplexes or buying small real estate, and then I want to manage those myself to see how it is in Pennsylvania, and even if it's in Western PA or whatever, how it is and how we can run it and learn. And that way, if I wanted to scale other places, and then if I can bring enough money, maybe I can finally purchase something in Miami, right?
Right.
And then I'm like, oh, I know how it is in Pennsylvania. Maybe I can those skills translate. Maybe not 1-to-1, but I'll learn some things like what apps to use, tenant screening, right? How important that is, and the differences between people in the South Side versus the North Side, and all these other things. Because Lynn says that she wants to own properties in everywhere, from Cincinnati, Ohio to Arizona to Indianapolis and Miami, even some in China. And I'm like, Lynn, if we want to do this, if you really want to do this, then we really need to get in the game and understand what we're doing, and we can't do it by ourselves. I keep telling you that we cannot do it by ourselves. We need to find people.
Especially if you're buying throughout the country where you don't live, you have to have that team.
Exactly. We need to build a team and people we trust, and then manage the team. And a lot of people, I have friends who just can't understand that. And it's like, but I'm trying to ease them in, trying to make them better to see what I'm trying to build and lead by example. Yes, lead by example. And and even my wife doesn't really fully understand it sometimes.
I just want to clarify the one point that you made. You do not have to be a broker.
Really?
But your management company has to be under a brokerage.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So there's a couple ways that you can manage properties. One is you can own it, but it has to be under a brokerage. Or you have to own at least 1% of those properties. As an owner of those properties, you can essentially self-manage.
1%, huh?
Yes.
Yeah. I was actually on the phone yesterday with a guy I know who invests up and around Punxsutawney. Right, and he calls me up and he goes, I know you have a property management company. He goes, can you manage these for me? I says, I can't just yet. I'm not a broker. My brokerage won't put my management underneath.
Right.
But I said, there is a loophole where if I have equity, we're good.
Okay.
Yeah. And he's like, okay, well, let me see if I can get this deal under contract, and we'll see how we want to go from there. And I'll let you know.
That's cool.
But then your team, whether it's a property manager or leasing agent, they have to be licensed. And what I mean by that is if they want to talk contract or pricing with a tenant, they have to be licensed. You could have anybody open a door for a prospective tenant, but you can't talk. It's basically all they can do. So they have to be licensed.
What do you mean? Can you give me a little more explanation on that?
Yeah. So if I want to show you a unit and you want to say, well, what are the contract terms, or what, how can I do payments? Can I do that? Anything where you're talking financials or legal,
You need to be a licensed.
you need to be a licensed real estate agent in the state of PA
Interesting.
to be able to do that.
Interesting.
And that's managing for third-party owners.
That's for third party.
Oh, for third party.
For third party.
Yes.
Again,
if your own property, you don't need that.
If you're self-managing or you own the property, absolutely, it's yours.
Okay,
it's yours.
okay.
You can, but yes, if you're doing third-party management for someone, that's a requirement.
That's interesting. I did not know that at all. You scared me for a little bit.
No. I'm glad you.
I gotta get licensed in PA.
Don't worry.
Yeah.
Don't worry. We can own it. We're good. And I'm licensed.
And that was one of the only reasons why I got licensed, We started the brokerage in 24, and I wasn't even on my radar. And then it got to the point, well, we have leads and we have things coming in, and what about overflow? I'm like, well, maybe it's a good idea. I get licensed. That way I can, if I need to go show houses or do something for someone, I can do it. And then again, same thing on the management side. It's like, well, if I need to go out and do something, I'm covered. I can do that. So I think it was November of last year of 2025. I went, spent a month, got licensed, and here I am. I'm not active as far as selling or anything like that goes. I just have it just as part of the ownership group to be able to, if I need to, I can step up.
Okay. Yeah. Do you have any tenant horror stories?
Oh my goodness!
I need to hear
this is Pittsburgh.
What do you mean?
I mean, I'll try to keep them as PG as possible. I've had ones where I won't say where, but I had one where we went in after the tenant left, and we found out that, and at that point, I didn't know, because when I was early on, lesson learned: always keep water and sewage in your name. Don't let the tenant put it in their name. PA is a different beast, where water and sewage is lienable. It stays with the property. Electric and gas is a tenant expense.
Okay.
So always keep water. You should, I won't say always, but you should keep water and sewage in your name so you can monitor if bills are being paid. Okay. And it depends on your lease of if they're required to. Anyway, that's a whole nother thing. But yes, water and sewage is lienable. This particular property, I let that be in the tenant's name. I had them sign up. The water was shut off for roughly 6 months when I had gotten in there. So luckily, I won't say luckily, but we went up into the bathroom. Excrement was piled up over the toilet. The entire tub, up to the rim of the tub, all 15 inches up, was filled. That's how they lived.
Oh no.
We had to just take shovels and set up a thing outside the window and just shoveled it out the window into a dumpster. It was bad. We literally just had one last month. I was in that property less than 5 minutes, and I had to go home and wash my clothes because they stunk so bad, because the unit smelled horribly.
Jeez.
There's some one especially for new property managers or folks, and this was very enlightening to our one property manager, seeing how other people live.
Mm-hmm.
It's very eye-opening. It can be humbling at the same time, and you can be very grateful for what you do have. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, it definitely can turn your stomach with what you see, smell, and those types of things. But yeah.
Let's look at
so everything that you see on
definitely changes your perspective on humanity sometimes.
Yes. So everything that you see, again, HGTV and
the sugarcoating
it's not even sugarcoating it. It's just it's not as simple as I'm going to have passive income and they're going to pay, a tenant's going to pay my mortgage and I'm going to live happily ever after. No. There is work involved. It's a business.
I get that.
And people that want to try to run it as a hobby, that's the return that they're going to get out of it. It's you have to run it as a business. You have to have systems in place. You can have a heart, but you also, like I said at the very beginning, I have hard lines. Like you're interfering with my family, my business, pay your rent. I have financial duties, so do you. So yeah, it can be very, I don't want to say there's a fine line, but it's interesting.
I had to redo an entire house after one tenant we had to evict. Carpet, paint, everything, gutted down and redone because, I mean, just for example, they had left one of the bedrooms as their dog's bathroom.
Oh,
or hoarder houses. Yep. Fantastic. I had one
those are
where
fire hydrants, right?
Oh yeah,
yeah. And
have you had any fires?
I had one where he had roughly, I forget, we had measured it. I think he had a 2-foot path through the house and 18 inches from ceiling to top of. He had newspapers, magazine, and that's where he was sleeping. He was sleeping in this 18-inch cavity. It happens, and I mean it's sad, but and you try to help people. Especially I take mental illness very seriously. You try to help people, and you try to at least get them in the right direction, or try to provide resources for them, and it's their choice.
Right.
And I've had some people that were very grateful for us to be able to provide assistance and knowledge and maybe drive them to where they need to go.
Mm-hmm.
And other people just are like, leave me alone.
No, nothing to do with it. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why it's very humbling. But at the end of the day, like I said, at the end of the day, it's a business.
It's a business.
And, I've invested a lot of time, a lot of money into these things. I try to work with tenants all the time, and I can be very compassionate. Hey, you had a rough month, or you had a medical bill that got it. Like family, I get that, but you still owe, right? At the end of the day, you still need to come back. But yeah, property management's fun. It's fun.
From what I'm hearing, it's a good business to get into.
What's one? You've talked a lot about systems. But what's one system that you couldn't live without now?
I mean, honestly, having so we use Appfolio.
Yep.
Oh.
So, and we make sure that all of our tenant communication is done through the system. So whether it's email, text, we have a way to do phone calls. But yes, because then it becomes a he said, she said. Oh, I talked to Jeff on the phone, and he said I could not pay this month or whatever. Just using that as an example. So we make sure that's one of our big thing is document everything. And if we do have a phone call with somebody, we send them an email or a text afterward that said confirming this is what we discussed on the phone. So we always have a record of that, because if you do have to take them to the magistrate or whatever the case may be, or just have record of it, if you're not the same person that is picking up the phone or dealing with the email next, you at least have a
record,
an audit trail of what's going on. The other thing too, that a lot of people that are I'll say that self-manage, know your finances, know your numbers. A lot of people, they don't know the money that's coming in and out of their business.
Trust me, I know some
and
people like that.
I'll even from a flip perspective, I want to get, this is the ARV on this is what I'm going to, and then they start spending and they start overspending or over improving, and they don't realize it because they're not tracking their numbers. And then they're like, I only made $3,000 or $4,000 on this flip. Where'd the money go? Oh, well, now that I'm looking at it.
That marble countertop I got for the kitchen.
I paid $70 a foot for a countertop when I could have got something cheaper. But yeah, you have to, and that's any business. Again, this is a business. You have to know your numbers, know what your P&L is. Stick to your estimates, stick to your SOWs, stick to your quotes. You have to do those things. From a property management perspective, I'll tell you some of the biggest money sucks as a property management company is vacancies,
yes,
maintenance cost, and potentially leasing. Because if you're sitting there with days vacant, that's money out of your pocket. Not only your pocket, but the owner's pocket.
Right.
You're working for the owner. And maintenance costs can eat you up too, depending on. I mean, think about it.
How do you deal with that? How do you deal with the maintenance costs? Like,
for me personally, we've lucked out. When we first started, I was doing all the maintenance and turnovers.
You just talked about how that's work.
Bingo. Yeah. We had gone through a number of contractors. They come in, they say all the right things, and they're good for a month.
Oh.
And then they kind of figure you out or figure your system out, and they start kind of skirting the system, or they start buying more product than they need, and so they can use it on another job. Or I don't know how many times a week I blew a tire.
Yeah.
2-3 times a week. Oh, I blew a tire this week. You just blew a tire last week.
You get a bunch of them in the backyard.
Right.
I mean, I literally I had one, and he was with us for only about 3 months. 3 weeks in, his grandmother died. A month and a half later, same grandmother died again.
Oh no.
You know, like it happens. It happens. And these were folks that were recommended to us from other investors that have used them. And it just we have deadlines. And so I'm gonna pick up the slack as my responsibility as an owner.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna get the job done for our clients. But we've lucked out, and we now sub out most of our maintenance and turnovers to another company. They're fantastic, but that is a cost that we are navigating and looking to potentially at some point bring in house. Insurance costs are ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's probably the most cost prohibitive piece of the whole thing
Wow.
right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, your liability and your workers' comp. I mean,
The workman's comp is what kills you.
Yep.
Wow.
But if we were able to have our own internal team, then I could start using them and control costs a lot better, using them on our flips, using them for maintenance. I mean, in the way that our ecosystem is built right now, that is an integral piece that eventually needs to come in-house. And we'd be able to save a tremendous amount of money and time on our units and properties.
How do you vet contractors that you are going to work with?
Like I said, this particular company, we kind of lucked out. We know the owner of the company, and he's fantastic. We met his partner, fantastic. We actually have our communication. Communication is key. So we have meetings with them every Monday and go through our entire list of what's on tap.
Wow.
So we have that communication, and we have we literally sat down and put a system in place how we're going to quote things out, time SLAs or time frames on everything. So to get from having a vacancy to having it filled, we're pretty regimented with how our system is with that. But as far as your question goes, as far as vetting contractors, a lot of it just comes down to let's sit down, we'll have a conversation. I want to see work that you've done. Basically bring a portfolio or whatever with you. Most of them will just pull out their phone and show you pictures, which is fine. But I want to know how they work. And to be honest with you, a lot of it comes down to their value system and their culture, if they fit in with our culture.
Okay.
It depends, how are they interacting with, because usually it's not just me interviewing them. I'll bring in a couple of our folks as well. I want to make sure that there's good interaction. And if there isn't that dialogue, or someone's not getting the warm and fuzzies about it, and I'm not a big feelings person, but if it's not there, it's not there. And I want to know how they work. What kind of people do they have? Who are there? Who are there? Are they subbing? What are they subbing out? If they're subbing anything out. I want to know the people that are going to be working in our properties. When I say our properties, I take extreme ownership in our landlords' properties.
Okay.
So I want to as an investor, I want to take care of their properties as if they were mine. So I want to make sure the people that are in there working, one, it's going to be safe for their units, and if there's other tenants, make sure that I'm not putting anyone in any danger.
Question on that. So when you're property manager, do you have a certain number of properties that you like, a certain number of units that you will take on? If it's a small unit or a big unit, or it doesn't matter for you?
I mean, obviously, more units or a bigger portfolio, the better.
Okay.
Right. But no, I mean, we don't have any criteria like, oh, you have less than 5 units. Sorry, we don't want to talk to you. Honestly,
there are some property managers that do that.
Yes.
Really?
I used to work for one that did that, and I brought a duplex. Someone that I knew had recently bought, and it's too small.
Interesting.
And the response was, there's too much work that goes into it for not enough pay. And that's someone who's money motivated. And
What is the rate usually in Pittsburgh for property management? I think it's like 10%, or is it 8%?
So we typically charge 10%.
Okay.
Yeah. Now with potentially with bigger units, we may be able to work something out.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's property managers that either say, nope, I only deal with bigger portfolios, or they'll say, unless your units are renting at X amount of dollars, we don't want them for the simple fact that, we don't want to deal. It's not enough money in it for us. Us, on the other hand, it's not about the unit count. It's about the owner. Again,
okay.
because we typically, so our process typically is if someone's interested or they're referred to us, we may have a quick conversation with them, and we have a media kit that kind of outlines everything that we do. Kind of introduces my partner Lydia and I. We kind of have some key highlights from our lease, some of the fees, things like that, and then we have a discovery call with them, typically over like Zoom or Google Meet, and we kind of walk through what their properties are, how they are, if they like to be hands on, if they're like, I just want you guys to take it, but it's more about will they fit within our system. We're not deviating from our core principles and our core system that we have in place. Well, I don't like that you guys do this, this, and this. Okay.
Not too bad. That's what you pay.
All right.
Right?
Well, I want to know every detail about every little thing that you do. Okay. Well, all right. We can.
How many? Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're fine.
How many hands-on people do you have usually?
So I will say the folks that come that are moving their portfolios from other property management companies, no issue at all. I will say very little issue.
Interesting.
Because they know the process. Like, hey, I'm going to have to, if there's a maintenance issue, like with us on our management agreement, we put on there, like, what's your limit? Like anything under $500, do you want a phone call? No, I don't want to be called if you have to go send someone out to unclog a toilet or do something. And then you have other owners that I want to know every dollar that you spend. Which, okay, I get it. But it's typically, to answer your question, typically the folks that have self-managed that are now like, this is too much work, it's becoming a full-time job, I need a management company, I hear you guys are great. Take my properties, but they don't like relinquishing control because they've been so involved and they know the tenants. Hey, tenant number 3 over here hasn't paid and they're now 3 weeks late on month number 2. What do you? Oh yeah, she has this and this going on. Just let her go. Like the reason why you should have property management is so that you have that delineation, so that feelings don't get involved. With it. Like we run it as a business for you. And that's where I think a lot of folks that self-manage get into that. They get into that trap where they start letting their emotions or someone, tugs at their heartstrings about whatever problem. Hey, I can't pay this month because of whatever. And then next thing you know, they're 5 months behind.
5 months behind. Yep.
And then they're like, well, I guess I can't let her go. She's been with me for you know what I mean? You hear the same stories out of everybody. And it's typically the folks that self-manage that are coming over to property management for the first time, that they're the ones that have the hardest problem with kind of letting go a little bit.
So you don't really like self-managers?
I don't have a problem with it. We just have to, we have
retrain the owner.
Kind of,
Retraining
literally. Thank you. You said it, not me.
Yep.
But yes, kind of retrain them and say, hey, look, we got this. That's why you hired us. We'll take care of it for you. When there's an issue, we'll let you know.
Interesting.
And that not only that, but or you'll have the tenants because they have their phone number.
Call the owner.
And call the owner.
All the
Like
time.
we'll say to the tenant, no, you can't do this, or no, you owe blah blah blah. And then you get a call 20 minutes later from the owner. Hey, so Susie over here called me, and she told me what's going on. So just let it slide this month.
I guess
You need that you need that delineation with folks, between tenant and yourself. And that's where we come in and are able to do that because we're not biased. We're running it based off of the ledger and the rent roll.
Yeah, the biggest thing I put in place I own all my units. I own all the units that we manage. But as far as the tenant's concerned, I'm property manager. Nikki is the property manager. We're not the owners. Because I don't need them being like, well, the owner, I want to talk to the owner. No, you're going to talk to my VA. You're going to talk to Trisha. You're going to talk to Nikki. You're not going to get me right away as the owner.
Have the property manager call the owner.
And that's just it. You know, they're calling up sometimes being like, you know, talking to Trisha and Nikki going, I want to talk to the owner. And it's like, no, that's a line. We're property management. That's it.
The funny thing is when we first started this, I went into ChatGPT and I said, make me an alter ego for being a property manager. So it created this whole alter ego for me. My name's Anthony. I'm from Brooklyn, New York. I moved to Pittsburgh. My family originally had restaurants. Like it created this whole backstory for me. But yes, I do the same thing. Like if I do have to go and address an issue or take a look at something, hey, I'm Anthony. I work for the property management company. And the thing, those owners, you know, they'll be like, sometimes they're like, those owners, they're so nice. And other times I don't like them because they told me no about blah, blah, blah. I'm like, wow, that's sorry to hear that. Yeah.
I also own my construction business, right, too. So that I do a lot of the turns. I had a team that did a lot of turns. Showing up in my truck, completely different stories from the residents.
I was on a Facebook group the other day that's a property management group, and someone had said something. They said, if people realized all the stories that we have, I was like, we should do a podcast, or write a book about it, because they would try to put it in the fiction section. Because some of the stories, you'd be like, there's no way.
Oh man!
You know, the one thing I joked about the other day, and I made a post about this. I had put a thing out and asked, like, what's the most ridiculous tenant excuse for not paying?
Okay.
And mine was, I had a tenant come to me and say, I can't pay this month because aliens needed gas money to get home. That was his excuse.
Seriously?
That was dead serious. And he straight face.
Okay, if someone told me that, I'd be like, okay, where'd you meet these aliens? You know?
Where's your straight jacket?
Yeah.
Yes, there. I've.
Where were you?
Yeah, I mean, you hear some of the most ridiculous things, and you kind of have to wade through a lot of it to get to the truth. But yes, so property management, it's interesting. Yeah.
Ooh,
Luckily, my partner, in addition to being an agent, Lydia was a property manager before then, so she dealt with all of that. Again, I had self-managed with my other partner. I really never thought of seeing myself getting back into property management at all. But it's a necessary piece as an operator of a portfolio.
The
myself.
most important piece, man.
Absolutely.
I couldn't imagine how important property management is. It's
Like,
make or break deals, man.
I would not want to have another property manager manage my personal properties.
Yeah, I don't think I could do it.
Yeah.
I would be too hands-on, too involved.
Really?
Yeah.
He's selling himself so well to me right now. I'm like,
Isn't
do I want to do this?
And he's over here talking, and I'm like, yeah, I do that.
Yeah, like,
I do that.
do you
Yeah,
do
same
consulting?
thing.
You know?
So I walk my properties every time I'm down there. I take so much pride in my properties that I would miss that.
Now, do I want to do that, like, with my own personal? Do I do the hands-on stuff? No, but I can go to someone's office right next door and say, hey, so what's going on with this one over here? Or I saw a bill for this. What's going on? Like, I'm involved, and it's just another way for me to control cost on my properties as an operator. You know, that goes back, which goes back to know your numbers.
Know your numbers,
right?
Yeah.
So, and by having different pieces, like Zach said, he has a construction piece, property management. By having all of these pieces, that's just more ways for you to be able to control cost and know your properties.
I get that.
Being able to manage them better.
Question. I remember talking to a couple of guys in another mastermind.
Sure.
And he said property managers should aim for 100% vacancy. Do you aim for 100% vacancy?
Occupancy.
Occupancy. Sorry. Yeah, we're just getting rid of this now. Occupancy.
Aim for it?
Yeah.
In a perfect world? Absolutely.
Well, the reason why he said that is because you're not going to get it. But if you aim for 80%, you're going to get 70 something. If you aim for 100, you probably get 90, 95.
So I can tell you right now, because this is a KPI, and that's another thing we can talk about is KPIs. But that is a KPI that we follow religiously. Right now, I believe we're at 4.3%. We were I wanted to get us
Occupancy or vacancy?
a vacancy.
Whoa.
Yes.
Wow.
Let's hope the small number is a vacancy.
Yeah, yes, please, or else we're doing something really wrong. but yes,
that's very impressive. I gotta say,
but if
that's
you think
impressive.
about it, if you have a high vacancy or just any vacancy, that's money you're leaving on the table.
For sure.
Now, is in the perfect world, yes, 100% occupancy would be perfect. You're not going to get that, but you strive for it.
You strive for it.
And I don't know. I think the national average somewhere around 10%, if I'm not mistaken.
You're being the average.
Last time I checked.
Yeah, that's why we underwrite at 90.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
at stabilized.
Yes.
not-
Stabilized.
Yeah.
Yep.
We were at like 5.6, and I pushed the team. I said I want to get under 5. So right now we're at 4.6. We're actually looking to onboard another, I think, 70 units.
Wow.
Which will need, I think, the majority of them will need to be stabilized. So that'll bring down. But there's a difference too. In Appfolio, you can do it. So there's non-revenue units, which don't count towards your vacancy.
Really?
Yeah. So non-revenue units basically need
Flips, turns.
essentially
Yeah,
need
right?
well, yeah, that's typically
Shoveling,
how
you know?
like there's a difference between we don't classify like just a regular turn as a non-revenue unit. Maybe we should, I don't know. But like ones that need like a full gut, need new cabinets, a new kitchen, a bathroom. I think some of the stuff kind of that you're working on just to get units, at least rentable. We don't count those, and we have a few of them. But as far as units that are sitting and
Are ready to go,
need a
yeah,
tenant,
yeah.
we're under 5%.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And it's winter time, so things are a little slower. I think they picked up right after New Year, but once we hit by March or April, things will pick up.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So how do you get your leads? Where do you get your most leads?
For tenants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So through Appfolio, they send that out to what is it, like 40 or
All the
50? Yeah, all the different syndications. We've really, I kind of frown upon Facebook Marketplace.
Really?
But with some of the yes, because you get a lot of, they're not very good leads.
What about referrals from your tenants?
A lot of times, yes, we do get referrals. Sometimes the owner will send us people.
Really?
We'll vet them. And get them in there. But yeah, a lot of the leads that we do get are just through the syndications and those referral sites.
Yeah. So we had actually, reason I asked was because we're doing a lot on Marketplace right now, pushing our units because that's actually where we're getting the majority of our leads.
Okay.
But the thing is, we're actually converting maybe 1% into tenants.
Wow.
Yep.
It's just it's there. These people are already sitting on Facebook, scrolling, whatever, and then they're like, hey, I'll go to Marketplace and see what's out there. Yeah,
Right.
I'm interested. And it's just where if you're actually going to a property, a property site, you have the intention of that's what you're doing.
You're trying to find a place.
You're trying to find a place.
You're not trying to find a place on Facebook.
Right.
Yeah. I just recently learned that Facebook Marketplace allows you to look for rents. And a guy says Facebook Marketplace is good for a certain type of tenant. But sometimes you find that people are just sometimes desperate, looking for a place because they've exhausted all other leads.
Right.
Right. So
Yeah. We've actually had a few come in and say, we need to move in like tomorrow. And we've had to tell them, listen, you can't. Like you have to apply. You have to go through a background check. You have to pay everything up front before we even give you keys. Like utilities have to be rolled over.
Yep.
So I had a conversation on a Saturday with somebody who kept bringing the number, kept calling continuously because she had a voucher expiring on Monday.
Oh.
I want to see this place. I want to see this place. I want to see this place. I finally said, fine, I can show it to you. I'm here now on Saturday if you want to come out, but we ain't getting it. You moved in on Monday. It's not going to happen.
Right.
But on the flip side of that, is that a tenant you really want?
Exactly.
That's going to hound you and just redial,
Jeez.
right?
Exactly.
So, and that's part of the like our tenants grant. Like if you're trying to beat down our door because you need to have a place, well, there's what's the story?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
We need
Sounds
a
like you
place. We need a place
procrastinate.
by this Friday. Okay. Why are you being evicted? Why do you have to move? Who's kicking you out? It's questions that we ask. What else is going on in your life that forces you to have to move that fast?
Like I think Zach said it earlier. It's like you see the world through a different lens once you are immersed in this. That just because you live in a certain neighborhood or you're around certain people, there's a whole nother aspect to society, and it's very eye-opening, and I think I said it's very humbling sometimes. Just the different people that are coming from different lifestyles and different areas of life, and just the struggles and all of that. Not to be negative Nancy here,
Right.
but it's just the reality.
Oh yeah.
Of,
You got it everywhere.
And yeah, I mean we have units that are higher rent units. We have rents that are lower.
Question there. Do you feel like the higher rent units, like the luxury people, are more pain to deal with in times?
At times, because they have an
Luxury demand.
that's it. They have an expectation. They have an expectation that everything is pristine, that you're going to come out and change a light bulb for them.
And all that gets written into the lease, right?
Yeah.
You have to look for the light bulbs. Yeah.
But then you have other time, and I will say more often the people that are in the higher rentals, they have a clogged toilet, they just call a plumber and do it themselves.
Oh, okay.
You don't hear them calling you about smoke alarms beeping or I need a light bulb changed. They just do it.
Right.
Because it's just how they are.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying folks in lower units are the same way. Some are. I would say probably most of ours are not. You don't get the calls about light bulbs and things like that. But again, it comes back to it, and as Zach said it, you kind of have to train your tenants.
Train your tenants.
Like, we're not going to come out for a light bulb. You need a D battery or whatever the
9 volt?
volt, yeah.
the 9 volt. Thank you. The 9 volt battery for your smoke alarm. Go up the street to CVS and grab one.
See, now
Yeah.
we've actually discussed and implemented that about every 6 months, because we're also installing electronic locks, coded locks on the doors, that we're going to go in and we're going to change batteries every 6 months, whether that be the locks or smoke alarms. And on a maintenance call, we have to go in and do that work. But if it allows us to see something in that room that shouldn't be there, then we see it.
Right.
And that's the nice thing about like our maintenance team is when they go in, they'll send us pictures or give us a heads up like, hey, when I was in there, this is what's going on in there, or this is what it looks like. So it's nice to that's a good way to be able to get in there legally and kind of just check things out, make sure things are copacetic.
Yeah. I was in one unit the other day where I walked in to fix something, and his bowl just sitting on the counter.
His what?
His bong, his
more marijuana talk. Yeah.
All right. I was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna go do what I gotta do, and I'm gonna leave. And at that point, I'm just gonna deal with that later.
Yeah.
Oh man.
And then that's the thing. If we send a letter saying we're coming in to do this maintenance task, or you requested maintenance, and you don't put things away or do things like that, then we're gonna see it.
A lot of the time, they don't care.
They don't care.
They don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They don't care. Do you? I know there's a certain for Section 8 housing. There's a certain amount of income they can make in that unit, right? That person who's renting it can only have one person.
It all depends on their voucher.
Right. Okay.
Right. So it could be, and it's based on their family unit and family situation.
Right.
In total. So if it, whether it's a mom and 2 kids or whatever, but yes, they have a voucher for a 2-bed or a 3-bed, 1-bed, whatever. So that always is, you have people like, well, I have a voucher for 2, but can I have this 3-bed? Oh, no. Or, hey, I see you have this unit. No, I'm sorry. That one's not accepting Section 8 because the owner chooses not to.
Because Section 8 will only pay up to what they're approved on.
Right.
So if you have a 2-bed and they're approved for a 2-bed, but you put them in a 3-bedroom, they're not going to pay you a 3-bedroom rate.
Interesting.
So say the rent is for on a 3-bed is I'll just say $1,500, and hypothetically say the Section 8's only paying $1,000. on their voucher, they got to come up with that extra 500,
Oh,
and that becomes that potentially can become a pain or a problem.
Yeah, and if you put them in a situation like that, they're also contractually obligated by Section 8 to pay their share. So you have to,
beyond them to make sure that they're
beyond
paying their
they're
share.
paying their share. And yeah, Section 8 doesn't approve 100% all the time. But if they don't pay their share, you can still be evict, even though you're getting partial rent from Section 8.
And that's where you sometimes have to have these tough conversations with these people, even though they're adamant. Oh, I'll pay. You want to set them up for success. Like if because of your financial situation, you can only afford a 2-bedroom voucher and you really can't afford much more of that. It's our responsibility, not only to the potential tenant, but to the owner as well.
That's true.
Right. So if I wanted to be one of those crappy property managers, oh, sure, I'll take you. And I'll when I have to evict you in 4 months, then I get to charge the owner again for
a lease up,
a lease up fee, and I can lick my chop. That's not how we work. We're very big on we don't play in the gray. Everything's black and white,
as it should be.
I want to be able to, when I put my head down on my pillow at night, not have to worry that I did something not kosher, or I'm going to get a knock at the door the next day for something not right.
Let's talk Pittsburgh. A friend of mine who lives in the area was telling me that, and I didn't believe him, but I need to ask because you're property manager in Pittsburgh, that Wilkinsburg is not part of Pittsburgh's city. It's like its own thing. Is that true or no?
Where at?
Wilkinsburg.
Oh, Wilkinsburg.
Wilkinsburg.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Wilkinsburg is interesting.
Really?
Wilkinsburg has very high taxes. There's been talk that they were going to merge with City of Pittsburgh.
It really is not part of City of Pittsburgh.
Correct.
They really built around it.
Yes.
How did that even happen?
And what's interesting, especially when wholesaling was a big thing before they changed those regs, you'd have out of town wholesalers try to post properties that are in Wilkinsburg using comps from 2 streets away,
right?
In Bakery Square and different areas that are $400,000-$500,000 houses. And they picked up a deal in Wilkinsburg for $12,000 and think they're going to make a ton.
Right.
Pittsburgh is a very, very interesting city by the fact that a lot of it is street by street. If you're looking to comp properties, depending on the area, one street over can be a completely different set ARV data set.
Yeah.
That is extremely interesting. Because, I have a friend that's like, I was looking at a property in Wilkinsburg, and I was like, yeah, but it's like on the outskirts, and it looks like a nice area. He's like, bro, but you don't understand. It's a whole different beast over there. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, you're from Florida. Stay over there.
Yeah.
I mean, I know people that invest in Wilkinsburg, but that's pretty much where they stay. And they know the area.
Oh, okay.
Right? Like I said, Bakery Square, you have bigger company. You have like Google and different companies that are over in that vicinity, and so people had moved into some of those areas over there. And yes, those properties are worth, like I mentioned, the 3, 4, 5, even higher.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have next street over or 2 streets over, a quarter mile away in Wilkinsburg, not so much.
Yeah, I was walking a property in McKeesport, and drive down one street, and the one side of the street's all abandoned, rundown houses that need to be demoed.
Really?
Yep. And you go around the corner, and right there on the corner, brand new senior center, school, redevelopment, and everything.
It reminds me of the 6 unit we were looking at.
Yeah,
we were doing a 6 unit. We were trying to see if we can get it. We're getting it for like
we were under contract for $60,000.
$60,000 for 6 units, so 10,000 per unit.
Yep.
And then we tried doing the ARV on it, and the lender was like, "Nope."
Yep.
Yep. And I was like, "What happened?"
Yeah, that, and it had foundation issues, and it had other issues. 5 of the 6 were vacant. One tenant wouldn't even answer the door. Like, that's the problems I don't want to deal with.
Right. Yeah, Pittsburgh is very, very finicky. And especially for being an out-of-state investor,
right.
You need to have boots on the ground here, Zach or whomever, that knows the area that can be like, just because the internet or the numbers that you're looking at with PropStream or whatever. So no,
No, yeah, my
you
guy.
have to know the system.
My guy's risk averse, and I was like, I like that.
Yeah. Right. Yep.
Jeez. Any other areas in Pittsburgh that's like that, or it's only Wilkinsburg that's really like that? Because I know McKeesport, I know Mount Washington is not really a mountain, but when I was like, oh, it's Mount Washington, that's pretty cool. And then there was a unit. Zach and I were looking at a unit in Mount Washington. Remember when I first met Zach, I was like, it was underwriting that unit.
Yeah.
And I was at the corner unit, and then there's a multi-family properties around it. And I was like, but that corner unit might need to be demoed. I'm like, but how do we know if we can't really, see in it? And he's like, oh, but it might be like, the city is kind of weird because that might not be how do you say
Allegheny
County, but might be part of the city of Pittsburgh. And I was like, there's different things. What's going on here, man?
So that's another interesting thing. Like going back to Section 8, right? So there's HACP, which is Housing Authority of City of Pittsburgh.
Okay.
And then there's ACHA, which is Allegheny County Housing Authority.
Okay.
And then McKeesport, and I don't know if there's any other areas, but I know McKeesport area has their own Section 8 department.
Jeez.
So depending on where you're at and what you're doing,
You're dealing with
there could be a
Wow.
completely different people. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's very you have to be educated on a lot of this. I'll just leave it at that. Yeah.
Write a book.
Sure.
Yeah, let's put that as one invest in Pittsburgh. Here you go.
But what's interesting, I mean, you have Allegheny County prices are starting to rise a little bit or a lot. The cracker plant out in Beaver County started driving people out that way past the airport.
Okay.
Butler County, which is north, is now people are starting to creep up into Butler more.
Really?
Even in Westmoreland County too. So a lot of the surrounding counties around Allegheny, Washington, I don't know if it's really increased or not, but Washington County is south, so they're there.
Hi.
Yeah, but I mean, there's a lot of different areas around here.
Yeah,
that you can
we're in a
invest.
phase of increase in this area. Where if we buy now, we're good.
Where I'm kind of selfish, and I'm like all these magazines and periodicals and online, like, oh, Pittsburgh, one of the top 10 places to invest.
Really?
Well, now you have all these out-of-state investors, and now prices are going up. Leave us alone, people.
That's what people say. Pittsburgh is like a big small town. We know it's our town.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. And I think now for the 2026, they're saying Cleveland is now one of the big hot spots. Start investing.
That's right. Get them away from us.
Yeah, go over there.
And then that's the thing too. There's always good deals, no matter what.
Right.
No matter whatever market you're in. Maybe you just didn't find the right deal in Miami.
I've been looking for 2 years, man. Don't say that.
But there's always gonna be good deals, no matter whether the market goes up, goes down, fluctuates, and it's all about when you buy.
Yes.
Right.
So how you buy.
And how you buy. Yeah, exactly. So we actually got under contract with this 28 unit we're buying for 1.25. We're now down to 1.087 because we've negotiated down on this one. One of the buildings that we're buying, part of that 10 unit in Katanning, we're actually having the lender separate the two loans from it, and we're only, according to the lender, buying that for $87,000.
Nice.
Yeah.
So,
and the lender was
absolutely
kosher with that.
Yep.
Yeah. I was like,
nice.
Yeah, wonder. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's surprising, and there was a lot of negotiation talks and stuff that I didn't feel comfortable with, but I was like, we gotta try anyways because our partners, everyone will try.
Yep.
So let's try and see what happens.
What's the worst thing they can say?
No.
Right?
Yeah.
You move on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I think to Zach's point, I mean, there's deals here in Pittsburgh, and I think that's one of the big things that the investors that have that scarcity mindset,
well, those are the ones who fail.
those are the ones that eventually will fail or have failed. But like you can't ask someone a question. Oh, I'm not telling you that. There's no secret sauce. Like I don't want to know your social security number. Just hey, what areas have you seen have been good areas to invest in?
Right.
Or whatever it is. But there's a lot of people that are very tight-lipped.
Interesting.
It's just one of the reasons why I'm sitting here with you guys. Like I'm an open book.
I'm an open book too.
You know?
I love talking real estate, especially if it's like if I learn something new.
Right.
It's so cool. It's like that Wilkinsburg thing. I was like, "There's no way, bro. You're lying to me." I was like, "There's no. That makes no sense. Why would you build around the thing?" You know.
It's just I'm very big on mindset and
Sharing knowledge
and being just being an open book, open source, whatever you want to call it. And again, it's all about surrounding yourself with people that have the same mindset
As you.
and the same value system, and let's win together.
Lifting everybody up.
Dude, I
Yeah.
love
Okay.
seeing other people win. This
Absolutely.
is 100% what I'm trying to bring. And Zach is doing it for me right now. 'Cause
Right.
when I first met Zach, I was like, I'm trying to look at Pittsburgh. He's like, yeah, this is pretty good. But he literally dropped everything. I was like, what do you think is a good area in Pittsburgh? He's like, this one's pretty good. This area over here is pretty good. I won't buy there. Don't go that one.
Right.
Yeah. He gave me the whole playbook. And when I
Yep.
told Lynn all this, like, why does Zach give me all that? He's like, I'm pretty sure he wants to see me do good in the area. Because, you know, he doesn't want me to fail. And now that
absolutely.
we're working together and partnering, I've had other people that I've like our other guy was trying to say, hey, we should do this together, and he pulled out. And I was like, man, you really try, man, because I try really hard. I don't want him to feel like we're pressuring him.
Right.
I'm trying to see, like, make sure you understand what you're doing and understand where you're trying to go with this, because we're all here together. We're a team. No one, I don't want you to feel like we're trying to hurt you in any way. We're on the same team here trying to do this together.
Yeah.
Like if I see you win, right? I see you like getting adding door counts and you're doing these bigger deals. That pushes me
To keep
to
up.
want it to
Yeah.
not be envious and all that, but that gives me motivation. Like, well, Zach's out here doing it.
You can do it too.
I can go out there and I can do the same thing.
Copy and paste. That's why I
Right.
say, yeah, so he can do it. Why can't I do it?
Yeah. Use
Or
that.
better yet,
Exactly what I told Walter on stage. Copy and paste.
Copy and paste. Yeah.
or better yet, I know that he's doing it. Going back to the gurus, I know he's doing it. I can go to him and say, hey, how did you navigate X, Y, and Z?
Dude.
How did you get past this problem? I'm running into this right now.
Yes, 100%. That's why I remember
Yeah.
Zach. I was like underwriting this guy. He literally laughed in my face when I told him the price. He's like, "Yeah, you get those. Yeah, don't worry about it. Just keep sending him numbers. You'll get one." He laughed at me too, but then he says, "What about this deal, though?"
Yeah.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. Allegheny multifamily.
Okay.
Yep. Laughed at him. But yet I had SVN laugh at me. So it comes around, but yet here I am buying off of, SVN and what they have on listed for sale, right?
Right.
Grace Valley and Renzi was all listed by SVN. The deals are out there, but they don't, I guess, want to see the LOIs come in because they don't want to, undercut their commission.
Right,
Well,
right,
the other
right.
thing too, the big thing too, is it's timing, right?
Yep.
You might
yeah.
offer them one thing right now, and it's 3 months from now, it's still sitting, and you don't know what the owner's thinking or what the owner's situation is. Go back again.
That's what I did. I recently did that with a
Yeah.
property in, what was it, Rounding Street? I forget what it was. And he said it's under contract. And then when
Yep.
Zach told me about it, I was like, he's like, the foundation of the thing needs to be fixed and stuff. I was like, we'll see what happens. Maybe it get closed, maybe not. If it doesn't, then I go back and send it
Right.
again.
I mean, my big thing, I say the FU money is in the FU, the follow up,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because that I don't know how there has been very many deals that I have gotten on a one call.
Oh.
On a one call
yeah.
close,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
it's follow up after follow up. There was one. I remember I had sent letters out. It must have been 2000. I think it was 2016, 2017. It was right after the pandemic, so it was like 21. I get a phone call, and this gentleman's like, "Hey, this is like what 4 years now." This gentleman calls me. He's like, "Hey, I have this letter. You sent it to my mother, and I wanted to give you a call. And she passed away. Would you want to buy this house?" I'm like, how did you find the letter? She's like, she had it on the fridge.
Hmm.
She's like, so, and the way that my mom is, anything that's important, she puts on the fridge.
Interesting.
So I thought that was an interesting one. There was one that I worked on for a year and a half. I had it in my calendar every 6 weeks. Hey, you guys ready yet? No.
Mhm.
Ready yet? No, we're still kind of doing this.
Happy
Okay.
holidays. Are we ready yet?
Yeah, exactly. And I call and they're like, "Yep, we're ready."
Awesome.
So it's it's either out of sight, out of mind, or
The squeaky
just
wheel,
a good interval. Make the call, send the text, whatever.
Yep.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. Send
Hey,
them a letter.
just wanted to say hi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've mailed letters to owners. I've mailed letters to the brokers. They'll come back to you if they
Eventually.
wanna sell.
Eventually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've had at least one come back to me and say, okay, well, we denied it first, but what about now? Well,
Right.
now it's gonna be cheaper.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I've had ones that have told me flat out or laughed in my face, said, "No way, I will never take that price." 6 months later, hey, you remember me?
You know that price is but it's lower now.
Yeah,
it's significantly
I'll
lower.
take that if you're still willing to
Yeah.
offer it. Okay. A lot of it comes down to timing and situation. Yeah, you never know what happens in that 6 month time frame.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have you ever thought of branching out of Pittsburgh, or you're just like, I'm here, this is my home, I don't want to go anywhere else?
That is a really interesting conversation, and the timing couldn't be better. I have thought about it.
Really?
I started thinking about things with that toward probably early fourth quarter last year. I'm like, what if I started looking at a couple different, and
Do you have any markets that you're looking at?
So part of my control, kind of type A, is I still want to be fairly close.
So
right?
Western PA markets.
So I was looking at Harrisburg, PA.
Okay.
I was looking at Cleveland, and I was maybe toying with West Virginia. More like northern West Virginia.
Okay.
Morgantown right now is expensive. Morgantown is very expensive. College town, yeah, it's just expensive. But I've definitely been toying with some different things. I've maybe looked at, from here, Ohio is 25 minutes away.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
The border. Weirton, West Virginia, and was that Toronto, Ohio? Like that whole area. Like, yes, it's right there.
Interesting.
Panhandle of West Virginia comes up, and it's Ohio and everything right there.
Yeah. When I drive to Cleveland, it's only 3 hours for me.
Wow.
Youngstown is what, 45 minutes, an hour?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, I'm from like South Florida. If I want to get anywhere, I get 8 hours just to get out of Florida.
You're either going to the Keys or you're going north. But yeah, haven't really dived into that too much, but I started kind of toying with the idea of what if. And then kind of seeing like, who do I know in these areas that I can kind of start reaching out to, and maybe, peppering them with some questions and areas to get into, stay away, all that fun stuff, do my due diligence.
That's pretty cool.
So, but yeah, Pittsburgh seems to be, home base for now.
That's cool, man. That's very cool. I wish I can do that.
But the nice thing too, and maybe Zach can, if you've built the systems, whether it be property management or construction, again, as you said, copy and paste.
Yep.
Copy and paste.
Wherever you're at.
Bro, that's what I'm trying to do. Copy and paste. See, someone's done it there. I just need to find that guy and drill him.
If I've built it here, I'm just taking the same systems and plugging it in here.
Yep.
Might tweak a little the regs, the laws and regulations, but for the most part, I'm using the same SOPs. I'm using the same systems.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The system works. Don't break it. Don't work it. Yeah.
That's it.
Don't broke. No, was it? If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
it.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. I got nothing else. Zach?
No, absolutely. So the last question we always ask everybody is, what does scaling mean to you?
Oh, especially in
business?
Pittsburgh. Yes.
What does scaling mean? Wow. Like I could go with the generic answer and just say, hey, more units and whatever. But I look at it as a bigger picture. I look at it as a holistic unit. Scaling for me, how do I want to say this? Scaling for me is you're taking real estate. That's your engine, but it has to do holistically with the people, the culture, the units. It has to do with everything. If I'm growing as a person, and I'm growing the people around me. That's scaling. And because of that, as I grow and I'm able to bring more people into that mix, that is scaling to me. You look at social media, you might start with one follower.
And then, yes, I know what you mean. Yeah.
And you're building something bigger than yourself.
Community, basically.
You're building thank you.
Yeah.
That's what I was looking for. You're building a community around you.
I like that because if you're doing it all yourself,
right,
you're not then giving to others.
I try so hard to give. Like I have friends that I see that they can be. Let's say 10 years ago, I was in Miami. I tell the story all the time to all my friends. Every time I have friends who have purchased, they're buying a unit for $500,000, and at the time I was like, because this was like pre-COVID time. It's like if you don't buy that unit and you buy like 4 other units and down payments on those. And then you rent those out, and then you can buy whatever you can rent whatever unit you want in Miami. Because back in the day, and they're like, no, we just want to get this, and I was like, okay, and then they got it, and then COVID happened, and prices started going skyrocketing. I was like, remember that time I told you to buy those other units? Right now, you would probably been sitting on multi-million dollars of money, and that unit they have is still worth $500,000.
I remember, what was it, 2000, right after the crash. Maybe it was 2011, 2012. I was down in Fort Myers area a lot. And I was coming across condos, fully furnished, for 120,
Jeez.
115, 120,000.
Oh.
And I'm like, well, economy's, yeah. And it's Florida, it's not Pittsburgh. Those units now, 350. Some of them I think were close to 4.
Jeez, man.
And I'm just like, well, whoops.
Yeah, right.
I mean, you're never gonna hit a home run on every deal.
True.
Right? And you're gonna come across stuff that you're gonna say woulda, coulda, shoulda. Everything's 20/20 in hindsight.
Yeah.
I look at some flips that I've done. I just did this the other day. I looked one of them popped up because for whatever reason it's still registered to me on Zillow. And it says, here's your home value worth. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. If I would have just held on to this for 3 years, this is where I would be. Or I forget what it was. But I'm like, I mean, I made a good penny on it. But if I would have held that one, and that's why I've, going back to one of your original questions about, flipping and all of that.
Right.
Like flipping is good for cash flow, like capital injections. But it takes time to get that. And it depends on your systems, your construction team. You could be in, and a lot of it is out of your control too. You might be able to get in and out of the flip in 6 weeks, but then it depends on the market to be able to sell it.
How fast can you sell it?
How fast can you sell it? How many days on market are you going to be?
Yep.
Because you're sitting on those holding costs now. So that's out of your hand, out of your, you have zero control over that.
Yeah, that's why I'm trying the burn method, because I want to hold it if I can. If I want to sell it, I technically don't want to sell property unless I absolutely necessarily have to, or I can transfer it into something else, a better venture. Right. So I'm trying to burn it, like refinance, get the money I put in out, and then do it again and keep doing it again as often as I can.
Because the only reason now why I will flip a property instead of hold it is because I do need that capital injection, whether it's for another project that I'm potentially looking at doing and I need capital, or maybe for whatever reason, payroll is tight or some other expense is tight and I need that. Or I just want it for me to put somewhere else.
I get what you mean.
You know what I mean? But yes, for the most part, I think my number one thing, and I think you're spot on. Burr it.
Burr it. Yeah, 100%.
But here's the problem with that right now.
Okay.
A lot of people, especially when rates jumped out of the 4s, and then they jumped up to 6, 7, 8%, they outpriced themselves and they shot themselves in the foot because now they just lost that. They're in the middle of doing a renovating, and they're like, I'm gonna burr this, but I burred it at a 4% or a 5% rate, but now rates are at 8, so now I don't have the cash flow that I would have had. And the big thing now is DSCRs.
Yep.
For the last year or so, that's really come up because more products and more like wholesale investors are seeing that there's value there. So there's more products out there for investors to use for DSCRs. So that's a whole another
ballpark,
another avenue to try to get into properties. Yeah.
Well, that's cool. Well, Jeff, I want to thank you so much for being on this podcast with us, man. You've given us a ton of knowledge, even to me. I'm not like, I want to get your phone number after this. I need to make some calls. Yeah, but this is so informative, and thank you so much for sending out the first live podcast for Scale Nation, and it's been great. Missed you, Carl. I really wish you were here, but next time for sure. Maybe we do this again, and we can set something up to have this done with you on the call. See who else we can get in the office. Thank you.
No,
Thank
it's
you for
awesome.
being
You
here.
guys have been great. This is fantastic. Anytime I get to talk shop, I love it. I love it.
Hey,
Like,
we'll probably invite you again. So
please do. Whatever you guys want to talk about, as long as it's real estate, well, actually, anything. But yeah, I'd love to be back.
All right, awesome.
I appreciate
Really
it.
Appreciate you coming on. And like I said, I really like that the scale answer to that scale question. Because it's not just scaling as far as building, it's building a community and building up others, and that's why we're here in Scale
That's
Nation.
why we're here.
That's
That's what
awesome.
the Scale Nation is about, to help others build and understand real estate. And if you have questions, hit us up, leave comments. We're here to help you.
Absolutely.
That's perfect.
So, once
I love
again,
it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.